the most powerful crop a farm can produce? Is it rice, wheat, strawberry, or electricity? You ask a farmer what keeps him awake at night, and the familiar worry you will hear from him, how do I grow more with less? Less water, less seed, less fertile soil, less land. Now, let's add one more pressure to it. World's clean energy demand. By mid of this century, the world's clean energy demand is going to go multi-fold. India alone plans to deploy 1,700 gigawatt of solar power plants, solar panels, to meet its clean energy demand. Now, it leads to another question. Where do we put all these panels? And the harsh answer is, perhaps, on the very land that is already struggling to feed us. Consider the amount of land this 1,700 gigawatt will require. It's roughly around 6.8 million acre of land, around 2.75 hectare of land. That is the language of a farmer. In your language, that is around 27,500 square kilometer of land. That is 1.7% of India's total crop land. The same land which can provide livelihood to 2.2 million farmers, vital habitats, and carbon stock. And this is the same land that can feed 30 million people for over a year. We are at a crossroads. Our land will grow food, or will they grow energy? We have been trained to think in binaries. We always take things in binaries. Our land will grow food, or it will generate energy. Our factories will produce cars, or they will produce steel. Our classroom, they'll teach science, or they'll teach art. But let's understand, progress, perhaps it does not come by splitting. It does not come by reducing, subtracting. It comes by layering more value to the same resource. Putting the same resource to work twice. So the real question now is not food versus energy. The real question is, can we redesign our system? Can we redesign our solar installation in such a way that from top we can take the energy, and from the bottom the farmers can continue to mend, grow, harvest, and feed their life. And that is what agrivoltaic is all about. In agrivoltaic, we raise the panels, we change the design in such a way that the light which comes from the panels, that filtered light, continues to support the crop. It sounds simple, but the impact are really profound. It helps everybody. The filtered sunlight from the panels, it reduces the heat that is induced by the ongoing climate change. It substantially decreases the irrigation water requirement for the farm. It also benefits the panel. Panels run cooler thanks to the microclimate generated below, and they can be more up to 10% efficient. And the most important beneficiary of this new imagination is the farmer. He unlocks the second income. He unlocks the income from the sale of electricity. So, my friend, let's understand what I'm talking is not theory. It is already happening. Let me quote you some examples from around the world. Agrivoltaic in France, when they are deployed in vineyards, they are saving grapes from the heat waves and protecting the entire vintage. Even Germany, despite having moderate sunlight, is installing hundreds and hundreds of megawatt agri-voltaic plants. And back in home, India, we have almost half a century of plants working across length and breadth of India, providing support, both food and energy, to the farmers. So, agrivoltaic helps us add, multiply, not subtract. It gives us way for abundance, not sacrifice. Let me tell you my own chaotic story from my own life. I was working in software for some time, then I was working in a bank, I was working in multiple countries, and one fine day, I decided to come back and do farming. And as if that was not enough of a shock to my family, I decided to deploy solar on my farm. My father told me, Mr. X NRI, Mr. Newly born farmer, do whatever madness you want to do, but please do not spoil my vegetables. And this is what I did. But he didn't stop there. And he asked me, okay, vegetables are okay, but meri roti ka kya hoga? What about my wheat, my chapati? So next season, we did some more innovation. And this is what we did. But he didn't give up. And the last boss level question comes, okay, so you will do the farming. You will harvest. Who will harvest? How will I run my tractor? How will I run my machines? And this is what I did. I have given you enough statistics to you. But here is one stat that stops me in my track. If 1% of the world's farmland adopted agrivoltaic, it could meet the requirement of whole humanity's energy need. Just 1%. But agrivoltaic, my friend, is not just about efficiency. It's about ownership. Tell me, who owns the sun? Who owns the land? And who owns the power flowing through these wires? For long, farmers have been framed as a victim of climate change. They have been asked to adapt. They have been asked to compromise. They have been asked to migrate. Agrivoltaic changes that narrative completely. It brings the farmer back at the center, not as a victim, but as the owner, not as the energy consumer, but as the energy producer. Agrivoltaic is the way where farmers not only produce food, but generates electricity. He not only reduces his financial poverty, he reduces his energy poverty. In my work across India, I have met several farmers. I have seen several small farmers, some even having less than a hectare of land, gaining resilience from this agrivoltaic. Their wheat does not wilt because the climate change induced heat waves, thanks to the partial shading created by the panels. Their irrigation requirement is cut by a quarter. And they have now a second guaranteed income from the sale of electricity, from introduction of cold storages, food processing. In fact, one farmer once told me, I had no more worry about failure of rains. Because despite the failure of rain, despite my crop failure, my farm still continued to support my family feed my family, and light my village. You know, our ancestors, they farmed to harvest. Our parents, they built to produce power. We can do both. The land was never meant to choose between food and energy. We force it to do so. But now, you have seen it. We have the imagination. We have the tools to make the same land work twice, to make the same land serve two purposes, to remove our financial poverty and energy poverty. So, if 1% of farmland can meet the demand of whole world's energy, what is stopping us? What is stopping us? So far, sustainability means for us, we have been told, means to compromise, to use less, to drive less, to consume less. Agrivoltaics shows us the other way. It shows us a different way. It shows us the way of abundance. So the real question is not whether to redesign the system. The real question is, are we bold enough? Are we bold enough to choose abundance over scarcity? And it cannot be done by one person or few people. We all have to come together. So, if you are an investor, look beyond conventional solar parks. Invest in assets, invest in plants, invest in solar parks which are supporting both food generation and energy generation. If you're a policy maker, change maker, please encourage, please legislate the co-owning of land by farmer and the energy producer. And people who are sitting in this hall and listening to this talk, look around and see the land around you and see whether it can be put to use for dual purpose. When you see the food, look at the food and ask the question yourself, whether this food is coming from the energy deficient farm or energy rich farm. My friends, abundance is not an accident, it's a choice. So every acre we choose to bring under agrivoltaic, it brings us to the future that feeds the world, that energizes the world, and that heals the world. Let's be the generation that not only harness sun twice, harvest sun twice, that also invest, legislate, and act in a manner where sun, when it shines for all. When it shines, it produces both kilowatt and kilogram. Thank you.